Hey there gamers, my name is Kystrom and welcome back to Destiny 2. Today we're going to be talking about the new Mars exploration area, specifically the 45 hidden data fragments, their locations, and the rewards for collecting them. There are two main rewards for finding them, unlocked once finding 35 and then later 45 of these fragments. We'll be breaking these down into sections pertaining to the different regions on the map, and I'll go ahead and put some times on the screen in case you're looking for specific fragments. I would bring a sniper rifle or two, maybe a hard light if you have one, as the fragments can only be destroyed by certain weapon type damage, and the hard light can change its damage type. A side note, a large portion of these fragments can be found on the routes you'd be normally taking during the Warmind campaign. If you haven't completed the campaign yet, and you're worried about spoilers, what are you doing here? Just go finish the campaign. If you're not worried about it though, ignore me, just go ahead and follow along, and you'll get the fragments anyway. It might just be a little difficult in the middle there because there is a section where you need an item that you can only get from something you can activate once you've completed the campaign. Anyway guys, first up let's head to the drop site at Glacial Drift and head down to the Olympus Descent marked red on the screen. Once you've made it to the Olympus Descent, you're going to run all the way back to the beginning where you start the campaign, run down the hill a little bit, and up in the mountains you'll see it just peeking its little head out there. It is a kinetic fragment. From there, you're going to head down the path until you get to a large chasm. As soon as you start to pass the chasm, you're going to turn left and look straight down. There's going to be a little ledge, and you can go ahead and shoot the void fragment that is there. Next up, you go until you see the warsat, turn left, jump over the edge, and land on the little notch that you can see, and then shoot the kinetic fragment underneath the warsat. This can also be gotten by standing next to the warsat. Afterward, we're going to be going to the Glacial Drift, but make sure you don't fast travel because we have to get another fragment on our way out of the tunnels. First thing that's going to happen is you're going to come out of this hallway, and over here on the left ledge, you're going to shoot it. It is a kinetic fragment. Next, you're going to be going to the left up by the train depot, jump on top of the train, and you'll see a white kinetic fragment. From there, look directly to your right, and on the edge, you'll see a solar fragment as well. Go ahead and grab that. After this fragment, you're going to jump off of the train and head into the building and turn immediately to your left. Inside the boxes in the shelves is another kinetic fragment. Next, we're heading back to the Glacial Drift spawn area, and to the left underneath the dam, you'll see an arc fragment. You can go ahead and grab that real quick. After this, you're going to head over to the right side of the spawn area and you'll find the lost sector. Once you see the lost sector symbol, go ahead and look back over at the spawn area, and hiding in a crack is a kinetic fragment. Heading into the lost sector, when you get to the ship on your right, underneath the thrusters is a kinetic fragment. Right after you do that, look into the giant hole next to you and you'll see another kinetic fragment hiding down at the bottom. Afterward, you can head back over to the spawn point, whether that's teleporting or by just running your way over there, and then you're going to head up to this giant garage door that you see here. Inside the garage door, up by the lights, is another arc fragment. After you shoot the arc fragment, go ahead and head inside the garage door, and hiding in the rafters is a kinetic damage fragment. Alright, after you get the one in the garage, go ahead and head back over to the middle of the bridge and look back towards the Bray facility. Up by the logo, you'll see another kinetic fragment hiding on the ledge. Alright, next up is the public event area, which requires Warmind campaign completion because these two right here require the Valkyrie weapon to destroy them. There's one right here, and then there's another one over on this side of the bridge, right underneath the railing. Both those require damage from the Valkyrie weapon. After that, we're going to be heading to the Bray Futurescape, but don't teleport there quite yet. We're actually going to take our Sparrow and head up that way, as there are a couple that you might miss if you do the teleporting. So the first thing we're going to do is run down this hallway till we get to the very first turn, turn back around, and look up at the fan, which is now on your right. It's going to take some void damage to take down this fragment. From there, hop back on your Sparrow and keep going down the path until you get to the top of the ramp. From here, you're going to run and jump on this building to your right and look back at the ramp. You'll see over on the white barrels there is a kinetic fragment. After you get this kinetic fragment, go ahead and turn back around and run until you get to this staircase. Once you get the staircase, turn back around and jump your way over to the yellow pipe. On the yellow pipe, there is a solar fragment. After this, you're going to go ahead and head over to Bray, but not on the inside, head to the outside and jump over behind her, and hanging off the pipes is a kinetic fragment. Next up is in the middle of Bray's area. It's sitting on a box. You might have passed it on your way doing events and such. From there, you're going to head back outside to the dam and snipe the void fragment that's sitting back where you came from. Afterward, turn back around, yet again, and run along the edge of the dam. Up on top of the building number 3, you'll see a solar fragment. Next up, head in the direction of Bray's door and pass it. On the top of the building right next to it is another fragment. This one is solar as well. On the wall directly across from it, there is a panel. Run up to it and press X, E, square, whatever it is you need to use to activate the button. Run over to the number 2 building. Don't follow what I'm doing right here. The door is actually right to the right of the numbers. And head over to the first door you see. This door is going to be now cracked open. If you don't activate the panel, it will not be open for you to use. It is a void fragment. Go ahead and shoot that one, and we'll move to the next one. Last in this area is the Valkyrie fragment. The Valkyrie fragment is hidden on top of this blue pillar right here. And from there, we're going to head up to the Warmind for the next fragments. Going towards the Warmind, we're going to turn away from Bray, head down the hallway, and the first one you'll see is in front of the Warmind model. After you get this one, keep heading down the path until you get to the scaffolding, look under the platform, and shoot the fragment. It is an arc fragment. After you get this one, keep heading down the path until you get to the void fragment sitting on top of the box. After getting the void fragment, head into the Warsat room. Once you get there, there's a vent that you can jump through, or there's an open window on the right. Head into the back corner, and there should be a solar fragment on top of the crate. Next up, you're going to head up this ramp with the piping, and once you get to the top, you'll turn left like you're heading towards the Warmind. But instead of turning left to the Warmind, keep going over to the right side, jump on the hanging pipes, and keep going until you get to the first ledge. Once you get to the first ledge, look up towards the support beams, and you'll see a kinetic fragment. Continuing on to the Warmind's entrance, once you enter the area, jump over to the first glass doors, turn left, and above the doorway where ads spawn in, you'll be able to shoot a kinetic fragment. Now this next one's a little tricky because if you haven't killed everything in the area, including down below, you won't be able to get to this one, but just go ahead and kill everything and come back into the room. And over on the left, where there looks like there's a support walkway or support beams, there is another fragment. This one is kinetic. Alright, next up is the Alton dynamo area. Go ahead and head back to the Glacial Drift spawn area and head over to the left. Not all the way to the left, but just kind of to the right a little bit of where we went earlier. And if you keep heading down that area, keep going until you get to this barren area with a little like bridge looking rock formation. After that, turn and look towards the buildings and you'll see a radio tower. On top of the radio tower is a solar fragment. From here, keep heading down into the dynamo approach and into the ice cavern. After entering, Head past the entrance and the first little crunch area, where it gets smaller. Turn back around and you'll see a kinetic fragment. After collecting this fragment, go ahead and head into the facility until you get to a platform that's completely open to the ice. When you see this, kill all the enemies and shoot the solar fragment that is on the support beam. Alright guys, next up, head down the hallway, turn right at the fork. You're going to keep going until you get into the data bank room. Head up to this little node, turn right, and go over to the column. It should be right behind there at the top. Alright, next up, head back through the other side of the fork, turn right. There should be a vent up at the top. You can break, go ahead and jump up there and run through that real quick. There's a little console inside this room. You're going to run over to it and activate it. Don't worry, this is going to come back in a moment. There's no node here, but that's extremely important for later. Now keep going through the room. You're going to get to one of these big rooms that has a glass door. After killing everybody, you're going to need to get up to this glass platform. It might take a couple tries, but jump off one of the pillars until you get up there. It is a void fragment. This fragment is outside so you can see the chasm. You're going to run straight through the door over to this ledge, look over on the other side of the wall, and you'll see this kinetic fragment right there. After getting this one, turn to your right, run further into the room past the Warmind pillar, and turn back around and look into the rafters. There's another fragment there. It is also kinetic. Next up, going further through that room, there's a blue fragment that you should be able to see as soon as you walk in. Before you run off, make sure to check the door on your right. It should be opening and closing slightly, just enough for you to see the arc fragment that's on the other side. If it isn't and it's red closed all the time, that would be because you didn't hit the console that was back in the other room. It's just enough. You'll have to wait for it to open, and I would recommend backing up so you can shoot straight through the center. Next, you'll head into the room and head all the way to the right side. You'll just barely be able to see it if you're on the far right side of the room. It is a void fragment. Congratulations, if you've made it this far, it means we're almost done. Go ahead and head back to the Bray Tech Futurescape, and this time we're heading to the northwest side into the Lost Sector. This Lost Sector contains the last two fragments that we need to complete our set, and they're both located behind glass double doors. The first one's going to be on your right. You'll notice you can interact with this door. Once you interact with it, it should open just enough for you to shoot the fragment. Not enough to get in, but just enough to grab it. If you don't get it the first time, don't worry. It will open again for you. Give it enough time. Next, you're going to head further down into the Lost Sector, but turn left immediately. You should have plenty of fragments to get this. It's a cache. You require 35, and it gives you the Worldline 0 exotic sword. I'll be going over this in another video, going over its perks, abilities, and other fun things that you can do with the sword. Lastly, we head into the final area of the Lost Sector, and in the back right of the room, there's a set of double doors that are cracked open. Make sure not to kill anything, though, because if you do, the doors will shut. Don't worry if they do. You can always head back out, reload the Lost Sector, and come back in and get it. It is an arc fragment. Congratulations, if you've made it this far and gotten all the fragments with me, you're at 45 data fragments. That's a big deal. So now we're going to head to the Olympus Descent so we can open that final chest. You're going to head back to where the third or fourth fragment was, where the war sat is. You're going to jump down onto that ledge and then keep going further down. There's more ledges until you get to a big opening. Usually there's a knight inside you have to kill, but this is the location of the 45 data fragment chest. Once you have all 45, you can finally open it and see what's inside. And behold, when you open it, you get a sparrow. Well then guys, there you go. I hope you had a good time, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.